What's going on, everybody? Martha Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. Today we are looking at The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 78. This issue came out in November of 1969, and we have a brand new villain we're looking at today, and that is the Prowler. He makes his first appearance in this issue. We're going to look exactly at the origin story of the Prowler, how Hobie Brown became the Prowler, and much more. We have a lot going on as we continue looking at the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1 series. I'm happy that you're here, but before we get started, go ahead and give this video a like and click that bell so you'll be notified whenever I put out another video. So now let's go ahead and get started. As always, this is brought to you by Stan the Man Lee, who wrote this issue. We have John Buscema and Jim Mooney doing the penciling and inking, and also Sam Rosen on the lettering page. And we also have to give a big thank you to John Romita Jr. He's the one that suggested the Prowler. And so that is an interesting fact. And so let's go ahead now and start the issue. So we start out here and we have Spider-Man, and he is swinging through the city. He had just gotten done fighting the Lizard. As we know, the Lizard had returned, and we know that we had the Lizard in the city, terrorizing the city, and thanks to Spider-Man, he was able to defeat the Lizard last issue. And we also know that the petrified tablet scenario was also solved as well, as we spent about 6 issues talking about that. And so now let's go ahead and see what's up with our favorite web swinger as he is just swinging through the city. One person in particular is on his mind, and that is Gwen Stacy. We know that Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy have been off and on throughout this series here, and we know that both of them like each other. And so what is Spider-Man going to do? Well, he's going to call Gwen Stacy. And so while he's trying to get her on the phone, we see this guy is banging on the phone booth here. We know back in the 60s there used to be phone booths. No one really had a smartphone, and so we're sticking with the times here. We're saying that Spider-Man is going to be calling his girlfriend here on the phone, on a payphone here, and he finally gets her on the phone, but he's not able to meet with her, as we see that Flash Thompson is in the background, and she doesn't let Peter Parker know about that. And so we'll look more into that. So we see here that Spider-Man is a little puzzled here as to why Gwen Stacy was being a little secretive here. And so we'll look more into that here. We see that Spider-Man has drawn a crowd here, and he swings off here. He's not real prone to liking the attention here, even though in the past he's wished he had some attention from the civilians. So now he makes it back to his apartment here, and he notices that his roommate, Harry Osborn, is on the phone, and it looks like he's talking with Mary Jane. We also know that Mary Jane and Harry Osborn have been seeing each other for quite some time, and so he has to wait outside until Harry Osborn gets off the phone. 20 minutes goes by, and now he's finally able to go inside his apartment here, and we see that he changes back to Peter Parker. Peter Parker's like, you know what, I need to prepare for physics so I can actually be prepared on what we're going to talk about in class tomorrow. But he can't even focus on his studies because he keeps thinking about Gwen Stacy. So he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go by her house, or maybe go by the coffee shop and see if she's there, just to say maybe I need to talk with Captain Stacy as an excuse. So while he is walking past the coffee bean, or the coffee pot shop here, the Cup of Java, he's looking and seeing who's in there, and lo and behold, he sees Gwen Stacy and Flash Thompson talking with each other, and he automatically assumes that both of them are seeing each other in secret and that they like each other. and that Gwen Stacy has dumped Peter Parker. But that is not the case here. She is meeting with Flash Thompson here, as we see, because she's wondering about the disappearing act that Peter Parker has done in the past, and who knows Peter Parker better than Flash Thompson, since they both went to high school together. And so Flash Thompson tells Gwen Stacy that, I've known Peter Parker for years, and yeah, when something exciting happens, he always cuts out, and we've always thought he was a chicken. But Gwen Stacy just does not want to hear that, and she says if Peter Parker is in trouble, then she needs to find out so that she can find a way to help him. But Peter Parker, as we see, he just feels so down and out. He even walks right in the middle of these two strangers here. He bumps shoulders with them, and Peter Parker just shoves them out of his way using his spider strength, and he realizes he needs to cut it before they realize put two to two together. And so he looks up and he sees this person, and this person is cleaning the windows, and this is going to be Hobie Brown. He makes his first appearance here, and he will eventually become what we see later on, the Prowler. So here is a bit of an origin story here. We see that Hobie Brown, he's had it rough in life. He's a pretty smart fella. I mean, he's an inventor. He has his girlfriend, and he's all down and about because he's, cleaning windows, and instead of doing that, he wished he could do something better. But anything that his girlfriend says, Mindy, whatever she says, Hobie still has an excuse, saying that he's a loser, and she can't take it anymore, so she leaves. So right off the bat, he loses his girlfriend. Then he approaches his boss, and he has these diagrams that he wants to show him, and his boss ain't having any of it. His boss says, look, you need to get back to work. All this equipment that you think would help, it's going to cost me a lot of money, and I just don't have time for it. So then he gets back to work. So he's been daydreaming. He's been spent 30 minutes cleaning this window. He's on the Daily Bugle building here. Jameson tells him, look, you need to get back to work. I don't know why you spent half an hour on that one little window, and your boss is telling me that you need to get back to work. And here comes his boss. He enters Jameson's office, and we see here that Hobie Brown says, you know what, I quit. And then his boss says something pretty racist here. He says, I'm through with your type. And then Jameson's like, you know what, you need to shut up, Clark. And we see here that Jameson is sticking up for Hobie Brown, and we're not putting up with this racist talk, this racist slurs here. So we see here that Hobie Brown makes it back to his apartment. He's now lost his girlfriend and his job, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to make a costume. I'm going to make something out of myself. So he forms this costume. He uses his steel gloves, we see here he's going to use these fluids here to clean, but now he can use this utility belt to actually put gas and other stuff in it. So he constructs this costume, and he says, you know what, instead of becoming a superhero, how about I turn into a super villain? That way I can get a lot of publicity. So that is how he becomes the Prowler here. And so he makes his first mission off, and he's going to try to steal some money here. And what better place to do it than to go to the Daily Bugle? So that's where he's heading next. And lo and behold, we see that Peter Parker, he is going to ask Jameson if he can receive some money here. He asks Jameson if he can get some money, and of course, Jameson ain't having any of it. And so they have an altercation here, and Peter Parker storms out of the room. All of a sudden, his spider sense tingles, and he notices that this person has been knocked out, and that the Prowler is the one that has done it, and that the Prowler has the payroll bag. And now we end the issue here with Peter Parker in a skirmish with the Prowler, and we see that Jameson has walked into this situation. So what's going to happen next issue as we look at issue number 79 as we look at the second appearance of the Prowler. Will Peter Parker be able to get out of this situation here and save his life without revealing to Jameson that he is Spider-Man? We're going to find all that out next issue. I hope to see you there. And until next time, keep reading comics.